Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
and to answer the question that was put forth, I was there when people started saying I don't see color, and what it means, and it amazes me what it's been turned into. How can you not see? It's not a vision thing.
Yeah.
Okay?
I never did.
Walk
I
in,
never did.
I could see that this person is black or white or whatever. What that phrase meant when it was created and what it still means. And sorry if some people don't understand this, but what it means is I will not act or react to you based on the color of your skin. That's what people are saying when they say I don't see color. It really means they don't act or react to color. So what do I think when people say that? I don't care.
Yeah.
Honestly,
right. But I have a problem where people start saying you can't. Like, okay, I'll use an example, and I can only use it because I'm female. But I had Bianca and I had Liana K on my stream, and I'm like, you know, this is a females, you know, in the comics, in gaming and stuff, our experiences, and it's like you can't celebrate those differences when it comes to a lot of it because people just automatically assuming you're doing identity politics. And I have a problem when people say, you know, well, this person, Black Panther, right? It was definitely an icon that Black people were, it did great. There's no reason why you can't celebrate those things. Judging someone on their merit is wonderful, but to act like you can't, you know, be proud of being a Black woman or a woman or a white man. There's no reason why you can't be proud of it. It's ridiculous that we can't celebrate our differences, but still come together and actually be Americans or whatever nationality you are.
Yeah, as far as what you're saying there, I actually agree with this. Wow, we agree on something. That being said, where I would disagree is why would you want to?
Because I love being female.
I don't know about you, but I did absolutely zero to be a white man. My parents, you want to talk to them, they did everything they could to make sure that I was at least white. But I had nothing to do with it. I had nothing to do with me being white, nor male, nor heterosexual. So why should I be proud of that? I'm very proud that even though I'm a poor person, I kick my own ass to try to make sure that there's food on the table. You know, I'm very proud of the fact that I stand up for my friends. If Nerdette, even if I didn't know who you were, and we were in the same vicinity in a store, you would be one of the most. I'm very proud of the fact that I know that you would be protected, because if anybody came in, I would put myself in front of people. That's my character.
And those are very, not to get gendered here, but those are masculine traits.
I had nothing to do with I had nothing to do with being man. I have nothing to do with being white. So I don't feel I should be proud of it. But you know what? That is mine. That's not arguing yours. That's just explaining my point of view on that. Because look, it doesn't matter. You can. I hope that this makes you feel good in your life. I hope that you feel proud to be a woman. Maybe because being a woman gave you a little bit of extra something to overcome. I don't know, but that's on you. This is me. I'm not actually arguing the point. I'm just explaining my position.
No, and I totally get it. But what bugs me about the situation is anytime you actually are proud of something, if you're proud to be, you know, Asian or white or a woman, that's when people get upset and call it identity politics. There should be, you should be able to be proud of who you are.
Yeah.
Without everybody thinking it's some sort of weird signal.
I think what happens a lot is there's words get spoken so much that they lose their meaning.
Yes.
Identity politics is when that's all that matters. You know, it's like social justice warrior. People are like, oh, I'm proud to be. Then you don't understand. To me, you don't understand what social justice warrior is. Social justice warrior isn't somebody who fights for equal rights. That's justice. It's not social justice.
Exactly.
Equal rights, you don't put another word in front of the word justice for everybody to be equal. A social justice warrior is somebody who focuses only on on demographic, and you think that people need to be treated differently because of those demographics. That is what social justice warrior is. It's not somebody who can who sees people as people. You're a woman. You are white. And you're called Tristen, and you are, you know, and you have these other characterizations. But first, you are woman, because that's what they think puts you at the disadvantage. That's what makes you the victim. And that's what social justice warrior is. And that's what it, you know, so when it's said as the pejorative, and I understand that it is used as a pejorative, that's what's behind it. It isn't, oh, wow, we're against equal rights, therefore, no. And I hate the fact that I just use a Southern accent as a Southern guy. But yeah, that's not about that. It's about the fact that that's bigotry. To treat somebody different because they are white or black, or because they are man or woman, or they are gay or straight. That's bigotry, and it should not be celebrated in any form, even if it's in the guise of we want to help, because you're still being a bigot.
But what about, okay, so you're saying that this definition of social justice warrior, which I think is lost all meaning, same with woke.
Yeah, same as Nazi,
but what
same
about,
as racist.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Sexist. Well, I would say they still have some meaning, racism and sexism, but they don't actually are used correctly.
Unfortunately, there's the umbrella has gotten so large.
Exactly.
It's to the point where if you go, yeah, black people like to play basketball, that's racist. No, it isn't. It's actually very accurate. I don't. Yeah, I always say there's always an exception to the rule, and you're talking to it usually. But yeah, it's become this big umbrella to the point where if you're including everybody, you're including nobody. Anyway, I'm sorry I interrupted her.
No, what was I saying? Oh, so if we're talking about a person of the LGBTQ community, if they're fighting for their injustices, are they a social justice warrior, or is it like, is the default white? Is that what you're saying? Like, I'm confused. Like, generally we see, okay, let's be real. Generally, a lot of people fighting for these rights or lack thereof are white women or Caucasian. But are they still a social justice warrior if they're just personally fighting for their own rights? Say they are a trans person and want to be able to have their, or they have a kid that's a trans person. They want that person to be able to participate in sports. Is that social justice, or is that just fighting for rights that they want?
I think I know what you're saying, Trish. You're talking about more about less the group doing it, like the whole people who join a cause as they want to join a cause, and people who actually have a stake in it and are doing it because they want to push it. And I do think that's the case where a lot of those, the people, the good-natured, the well-intended people, do get overshadowed and lumped in with the people who are doing it just for the cause. They have no idea what they're talking about, or doing it to raise their own power or whatever.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point, because what ends up happening is the person who truly is just interested in making sure that things are equal gets drowned out. I remember when, like I said, I always say what became of, but when we were just the comic book buyers movement, you know, the little revolution that we were.
I remember.
I wanted to win that war. I wanted to win the culture war. I actually had an active desire to win this culture war. And I realized it was a war of perception. We had to show and I told people, we're in a wrestling ring. Oh, yeah. And it is us, and it's the comic book creators. And everybody said, well, you're not going to get the comic creators on your side. I said, I don't want to. Because the people we're trying to get on our side are the people watching.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we have to show that show that they are the crazy ones and we're not. So the way to do it is to converse, to have, to show what we believe, to show their craziness while we're not being crazy. Unfortunately, that don't get clicked.
That didn't last long.
Not even a little bit.
I still remember
Doug Ernst and myself. Doug Ernst and myself were the moderates, and then you had Captain Cummings, and you had and you had Richard, Diversity in Comics, and they would go out and they would be like, "Aha! I'm the warrior," and they would attack. And what's worse is when you do that, you kind of invite trolls, for lack of a better word. People who will go out,
that's exactly,
and they will say the most vile things. And
they call it the personality.
So they go out and they say these vile things. And then the people who understand this is a war of perception, we need to be a little bit more, we get wrapped right on up in that.
Yep.
So I still
remember how when I believe it was Yellow Flash, he did that blacklist of like, let's blacklist these creators, and they spread it out.
Oh my gosh,
and I remember you weaponized, I think maybe some of the others, Doug, were like, dude, stop, and he stopped. But then that was back when you guys were a dominant voice. Afterwards, it started being more people following his route of things. Now, granted, he never did the blacklist again, but it's like his tactics became the norm, and because everyone's all like,
and we actually got. I actually was told that I was not for free speech. I didn't. You know,
I remember that. You were the guys attacking the creators when it's like, no, the people you're surrounding were the ones who started it.
Yeah, that's when it started falling apart.
Yep. I still remember when I talked to I just forgot her name now, but it was one of those woke creators and everything. And I remember talking with her. We had a nice simple DM tweets back and forth. And eventually got to a point where she brought up about your boy Zach, how, there's people coming after me. And I'm like, I just say, do you honestly believe that he's telling them? Because I've watched it. And she eventually went, no, okay, I don't think he's actually doing it, but he could rein them in. To which I'm like, well, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, he can't. There's not much he can do about it because there's going to be people who are going to do it regardless of what he says. But the fact that she was being reasonable enough to openly admit, okay, I don't actually think he's telling him, go get her, but he is riling them up.
It's not hard to say, do not send hate. Look, I condemn any sort of hate sent. It shouldn't. I know it doesn't matter, but when you're talking about calling somebody a man in a dress, you're not going to win any hearts over it anyways.
Oh, I agree with that.
Unfortunately, when you do say that, there's going to be people who don't listen. And yes, I was on the receiving end of Richard's crowd getting mad at me. My brother actually accidentally insulted Diversity in Comics. He didn't like Captain Cummings. My brother used to be on my channel, and
I remember those days.
Didn't get along at all. And instead of, and I do this too, if you guys watch my live streams, I'll think one thing, I'll say the other. Well, he was thinking Captain Cummings, and he wrote, and Diversity in Comics, blah, 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 blah. I'm sleeping, and my phone's on the table. I wake up like, what the hell is this?
I remember when all that went down. I remember when all
and it was just angry tweet. I'm like, what the freaking? I didn't say anything about. Why are people saying I said something about Richard, man? What the hell? And so I found out, I was like, you guys are my brothers. First of all, my brother said it, and second of all, what they were arguing about never happened because they thought there was this guy who disguised himself as a female reporter called Melissa Morg. And so Melissa Morg was in my chat, and oh my gosh, Nerd Wonder was on my live stream, and the Melissa Morg says, I watched 50 hours worth of 50 hours straight of Diversity in Comics videos trying to find us. So why would anybody watch 50 hours straight of anything? And Nerdette answered, so people thought I had Melissa Morg on my channel, and I was taking the side, and
you mean Nerd Wonder? Did you mean Nerd Wonder answer?
Nerd Wonder, yeah. And so yeah, big old freaking controversy there. So I know what it's like a little bit to be canceled because it gets tiring.
Oh yeah.
But then what it did also is it gave me a great suit of armor. You cannot insult me. You're not my wife. You're not my kids. They can insult me, and they're very good at it. So I tell everybody, if you try, please be funny.
Oh yeah, and I think
yeah.
Sorry.
I was just saying. You said you know what it's like to be canceled, but that's kind of somehow, you know, probably what people like Mags and Vita Ayla go through almost on a daily basis, because people are constantly making videos about every single tweet that's put out.
And I will say this as well. It got to a point where, and I will still say this, when I still remember so many times when you have the creator saying, oh, I've been getting bombarded with this. Now, they might be hyperbolic, over-exaggerating the numbers they're getting, but then you have people on, you know, what became COMIXgate and all that started saying, they're lying. We never did it. Never. None. And everyone's like, you're right. We never. They start to agree saying, no one ever. Like, we are completely clean, that there's no one in their group that did, and you're like, okay guys, come on, stop being all acting like none of you have done it.
Here's the thing, you put yourself out there, people are not going to like you. That's just it.
Oh
if you say the sky is blue, 5 people are going to leave comments saying, well, not where I am, it's gray. You're just going to get that. In Vita Ayla, Mags Visaggio
those are the overzealous.
Wear a helmet. It gets harsh out there. I'm not justifying it. I'm just saying that's what happened.
Maybe on Mags, but what is Vita? Vita seems pretty chill.
I was about to say, Vita is the one is one of the ones that announced that, and she's the one that actually started that she's going to queer up the DC universe. So if people get angry at that, okay. But here's my thing: say something about the writing. Don't say something about her. You don't know her. Don't if you have a complaint about the writing and you put yourself out there, it's just like the YouTube videos. You don't like my point? Go right on ahead. I have some people will come up and, oh, you fat, ugly mother. Look, I know I'm fat. I know I'm ugly. I can see it right here. You're not telling me anything I don't know. You're not telling me anything I don't tell other people. So, you know, like I said, at least try to be funny. Mags Visaggio with the whole, I want to take a baseball bat to sis. And that's not the only thing. That's just the one that always stood out. Mags Visaggio invited personal attacks by personally attacking, and that's what also ended up happening. I'm not
arguing that. I'm not arguing when I was making my point.
You were there too, Rob. You know I'm not lying about this. But the comic book creators would not follow the rules that are being called on. They're not saying, hey, treat everybody nice. I recently got called racist by a comic book creator and a homophobe, a misogynist by a comic book creator I've never spoken to. He's never spoken to me, and I'll bet you money he's never seen one of my videos. He doesn't.
He's just assuming.
He used my name. He called me by name.
Holy crap.
So that is something that, okay, so how am I going to respond to it? Do I insult him back? Oh, yes, I did. You know, I could take the high road, I guess, and just talk about his work. Look, Dan Slott is a writer, and he also looks like freaking Violet Beauregard after she ate freaking gum.
Oh, I know what situation you're talking about with Jimmy.
Yeah, with the Jimmy Quirks thing.
I felt so bad for him.
Jimmy Quirks is one of the sweetest kids.
I know. I felt so bad for him
on the channel. Yeah, and so
oh boy, whatever happened to Dan? Whatever happened? Let's say someone bring up Dan.
He could write.
Yeah, I mean, Tris, you just read through my recommendation of Living Hell.
Oh, so good, and he could write, and that's why I always say it. Twitter was a mistake. Yep, Twitter was a mistake. It made people so polarized, and then on top of it, then you've got basically like attack versus attack, because people get addicted to that negativity. People get addicted to the likes, the retweets. Yeah, it gives them that little bit of rush. Yes, exactly. And it's such it's a mistake upon humanity. It's really what's dividing and then people listen to it. So the mainstream writes articles and listens to it. When it comes to comic books, it's such a small amount of Same with on YouTube though, right? Same with on YouTube. And a lot of times when you've got people, you know, on either side, oh, I'm not going to buy that book now because, you know, we've got trans Amazonians, or, you know, oh, I am going to buy that book. But it's likely they probably aren't, and they probably weren't. It's just such a small segment of comic book readers. And the majority of I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but the majority of comic book readers don't give they're there for the story.